Coming up on this edition of ATV News.
We're building our pipeline of pilots for the future.
We'll show you how much money one airline is offering student pilots if they sign on to work with them. Hint, it's over $10,000.
Warmer weather brings shallower water. I'm Kayla Peterson, and I'll tell you how the drought might affect you.
USU students are upset and speaking out. I'm JC Caldwell, and coming up, I'll show you why they turned to posters and markers to get their voices heard.
Softball won their first of a 3-game series, but I'll show you how things turned a little more Fresno after that.
All that and more, this is ATV News.
Feels like it's winter again. Feels like January, not April.
If you were just looking at this video of Old Main, you would still think it was January. Utah State students trudged to school in the snow as a spring storm swept through the valley this week. Welcome to ATV News. I'm Kayla Peterson.
And I'm Kanoa Johnson. I know for me, this storm felt especially cold after all that warm weather. But Sarah Murphy joins us live from the quad, where she might be a little colder than me.
Thanks, Kanoa. Now, honestly, it's probably not as cold as you might think, at least for the past couple of minutes. Before that, we've gotten a fair amount of snowfall off and on for the past few hours, giving us a total of about an inch of snow. So to put that into perspective, I kind of wanted to compare it to something you might have in your pocket right now, a stick of gum. So if we look at this inch of snow we've gotten so far, in comparison to this gum, it's about half a stick. Now, this snowfall is expected by the National Weather Service to continue on for the next few hours until tomorrow, giving us another inch, altogether equaling about an entire stick of gum's worth of snow. So I know an inch of snow is not anything record-breaking here in Logan, Utah, but it is mid-April, and that combined with the wet conditions and heavy storms, it's something that the National Weather Service has given the state of Utah a winter storm warning until this morning. Now, this storm started with heavy rain that led to snowfall a few hours later when temperatures dropped early Monday evening. Since then, we've had slick roads and some wet conditions throughout Logan, but it hasn't stopped these USU students from heading to class. Some students say it's put a damper on their day.
Cold and not fun. It's not spring anymore. It's second winter. It's unpredictable.
And with the snow falling 1 hour and then stopping the next, unpredictable is right. You know, we've all heard this saying in Utah where if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes and it'll probably change. You know, I'll tell you if this snow is going to stick around for the next few days or if we can expect it to melt away. Reporting live from the quad, Sarah Murphy, ATV News.
Thanks, Sarah.
You may have heard about a new bill Utah legislators recently introduced. JC Caldwell shows us why USU students rallied together to fight against it.
Students cheered as organizers of a march against what they called transphobia and homophobia stood on the Block A to address the crowd. As students showed up to the event, they could make posters and scan a QR code to sign a petition against Utah House Bill 127. The bill, introduced March 4th, would prohibit a physician or surgeon from performing a transgender procedure on a minor.
There's currently over 200 anti-trans LGBT legislation United States-wise. So it's just kind of was like another kind of nail in the coffin. We really want to make sure that we're offering hope and saying that no, Utah, the state, is better than that.
The event started with a silent march around the quad to represent the voices of marginalized identities being silenced in society.
Living in Utah as a queer person is hard enough as is, but I cannot imagine what my transgender siblings are going through right now. But I knew we had to do something.
I'm here at Block A where the march started. Although organizers of the peaceful protest say that they weren't just here to fight back against the bill, but to bring awareness to another issue behind it.
To my fellow Aggies, student alumni, faculty and professors, as well as admin, we need to address something that has gone way too far. It's all of the transphobia and homophobia that is still happening on campus to this day.
The video, posted by Lancaster on his personal Instagram account, also challenged USU faculty to do better.
If you're not here today, then that is on you.
This is your call to action to help create an actual inclusive atmosphere for your students. not the admin, for your students. That is why you are here.
Marchers say although the event was a good thing, the real work to make a change is just beginning.
Imagine being a 40-year-old man with a 16-year-old girl. Embarrassing.
I think the main thing is to show that we won't just take it and we won't just stand by and do nothing.
JC Caldwell, ATV News.
The next event hosted by the USU Inclusion Center will be Lavender Graduation on April 21st.
Turning now to the coronavirus pandemic, the state of Utah is no longer publicly reporting COVID numbers, but we have an inside source still providing us with that information. Across the state of Utah, there have been just under 929,000 cases. There have been just over 34,000 hospitalizations, with a total of 730 deaths. In the Bear River Health District, there have been over 51,500 cases, with just over 2,000 hospitalizations. And there have been over 200 deaths. USU reports their cases a little differently. There have been 15 active cases, 2 new cases have been reported this week, and there have been a total of 6,775 cases since March of 2020.
Airlines across the country are reporting the numbers of pilots are going down. Some are looking to schools to get help to get those numbers back up. Sarah Murphy shows us how USU Aviation and regional airline Horizon Air are teaming up to get the college students into the cockpit.
6,500 feet southwestbound towards Brigham City, last call. Logan.
Flying over Cache Valley is a view USU Aviation students say never gets old.
Gently push forward there to get that 7-1 down.
It's a passion.
It's more about your interest and about your motivation to help.
That's caught the eye of industry professionals.
Currently, most of the aviation partners are needing pilots right now. There's a shortage of pilots. And we actually have some of the best.
We'll present these wings to Horizon Air to make them honorary Flying Aggies as we develop this partnership with this program.
To try and fix that shortage, Horizon Air is partnering with Utah State University Aviation for the first time.
So those are the two things we're going to be doing, the mock interviews and the chance to network on all these tables.
What we're doing is we're building our pipeline of pilots for the future.
If USU students sign with Horizon Air says they get a stipend and a guaranteed job after graduation.
It really provides an opportunity to help them achieve that ultimate goal of becoming pilots and flying in the industry.
The plane, the fuel, and the time it takes to rent it is something students say they have to pay for themselves. That's why when they graduate, on top of tuition, they say they're about $65,000 in debt. That's why Horizon is offering students a $12,500 stipend. They say they want to help.
Aviation has always been expensive, and this money's to help them get through that.
So here, do the scan here.
Flying towards the future, program directors say they have high hopes.
I anticipate this will help our students be able to create an open door when they finish up, to be able to immediately step into a job that they've been dreaming about, that they've been working towards, and now been able to attain that dream.
All right, other questions?
Sarah Murphy, ATV News.
Horizon Air says right now 6 USU students have signed their contract, and they expect 7 more to sign in the next few weeks.
Sex education is required in 27 of the 50 states, says the National Conference of State Legislatures. A group of USU students don't think that's enough. They gathered a panel of experts to talk to USU students about sex.
Having people talk about it more, just flat out. I mean, I think that would help massively.
The panel had a medical practitioner, a sex therapist, a sexuality and health researcher, and a victim's advocate to answer questions. The students who put it together say they were frustrated with the taboo of sex. They wanted to create a safe place for students to ask questions where they might be uncomfortable asking elsewhere.
You might need to water your grass less this summer to make up for the lack of water in the reservoirs. I went around the valley to show you what the different water levels could mean for you. Porcupine, Hiram, and Newton reservoirs are as full as they have been in years past. This can lead to more drought.
Kind of interesting to see how it's affected kind of everything in daily life. There's always that concern that when is the next time we're going to have to worry about water.
As you can see in the dam behind me, the water runoff seems to be fine. But there could be less water in a few months to come.
I think this winter I was expecting a lot more snow. So I was surprised by the scarce amounts of it that we got.
Because of the lack of snow, researchers say summer fires are something to be cautious about.
I know the fires here in Utah can be pretty brutal, so I think that's probably the biggest thing that I'm worried about.
Agricultural experts say to expect up to 40% water cutbacks for agricultural and 60% for residential.
Snow is like such a hazard to deal with, but I'm always glad that we get some.
Pratt says sacrificing your green grass might be worth the snow. Might be worth it, but the snow this week could certainly help, experts say, but it's definitely not enough.
Drive by Old Chicago Pizza and you might notice a big change.
The Logan Pizza restaurant may have a new name, but it still has the same owners. While the sign outside still says Old Chicago, the new restaurant is called Ruby's Pizzeria and Grill. Owners say the restaurant's name honors their mother and her tradition of bringing smiles and love to any event.
Owners say they left the Old Chicago franchise because the new owners of the Old Chicago chain want to dramatically change the brand, and the Ruby's owners want to keep the building and the brand they have in Cache Valley. Customers say the food still tastes great, the drinks are still good, and the service still comes with a smile. Owners say this is an exciting step and a little stressful one as well.
Right now we're right in the middle of it, so stressful. But no, we want to make the change because we can do some fun things.
Willis says Ruby's will add some local specials to the menu and offer steak and grilled chicken on the weekends. And coming up.
And now the moment you've all been waiting for.
We'll show you who your new Miss USU is.
You can come here and you can meet new people and you can have a lot of fun doing it.
There's over 5 million pickleball players in the country, but less than 10,000 places to play. We'll show you where you might be able to snag a court in Cache Valley.
In weather, Sarah Murphy will have the 7-day forecast. It must be warm enough to go fishing because the current temperature is 39 degrees.
In Utah, 1 in 8 women and 1 in 50 men will be raped. Also in Utah, 1 in 3 women will experience sexual violence. Of the completed and attempted rapes against college women, less than 5% will actually be reported. Sexual assault should not be a part of the college experience. Always get consent.
Consent for sexual activity is enthusiastic.
Consent is sober.
Consent is non-coerced.
Consent is verbal.
Consent is mutual.
If you or someone you know has experienced sexual assault, report it at reportingsa.usu.edu.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
I'm Sarah Murphy and welcome to ATV Weather. Now I know earlier on I said it wasn't as cold as you might think, but I will say I'm grateful I've made it inside. We did get a little bit of snow here in Logan, but that also goes for the rest of the state. Let's take a closer look with our ski resort cams across Utah. First, we'll start with Deer Valley Bald Mountain. You'll see they got a fair amount of dusting across their trees on the mountains. Next, we go to Alta Albion Basin. Same kind of thing. They got a fair amount of dusting. You'll see some snow even stuck to the camera on this side over here. Finally, a little more local is Beaver Mountain. What's funny about this is they're ending their ski and snowboarding season this Friday. So looks like you have a couple more days to enjoy the snow that they just got. Let's take a look at how many inches of snow we kind of got across the state with our snowfall report. We're going to start out here with Alta. They got a total of 5 inches, Daybreak 3 inches, West Jordan Bench, Cedar City, and Hill Air Force Base all 2 inches, and Logan a whopping 1 inch as you saw. So where did this come from? Let's look at our state radar to get a closer look. You'll see we have this big system up here kind of in northern Utah. Doesn't touch down here at all, but this is what we've experienced today, and we will probably, it's likely we'll experience for the next few days. Let's take a look at our national radar to see if it's the same across the country. So we already mentioned our storm, but something else that's kind of notable here is this big system kind of over the central United States, especially here in Ohio. They're getting some big blizzards, some big hail, and some strong winds that has them on high alert for the coming week. So to break it down, let's take a closer look here at Cache Valley, what we can expect in the next 7 days. Today, as we talked about earlier, we definitely have had some snow, but it is a high of 39. Tomorrow, we're going to jump up a couple of degrees all the way to 48. Friday and Saturday, that snow will continue, but by Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, it looks like the snow will be lucky if it stops and we'll get some sun there. So it looks like maybe keep the rain jacket and the snow jacket out a couple more days just in case. Looks like you're all caught up on your forecast. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Sarah. Utah State has a new Miss USU who shared her platform when she was crowned last night.
Leah Crocioni shows us what her platform is, as well as what the old Miss USU accomplished with hers.
A group dance started the 2022 Miss USU pageant. The event was a chance for the contestants to showcase their talents as well as share their platforms.
As Miss USU, my main goal would be to emphasize unique diversity by creating an event I call USU Worldwide.
The crowd cheered as last year's Miss USU took the stage to talk about her experience as Miss USU.
With the Aggie Utah State Stories project, we were able to capture stories.
These seats are empty now, but just a few minutes ago, they were full. Miss USU contestants say they were grateful to share their platforms with their audience.
Experiencing this through a friend's relationship has made me grow and have an even bigger emotional attachment to this platform.
I am so excited to implement my platform.
Your 2022-2023 Miss USU.
Emily Lundquist, Miss SIA, was crowned this year's Miss USU. Her platform
is to allow everyone to feel that they have someone.
Lundquist says she is grateful to have won the position.
In that moment, I just felt an array of emotions, like excited and disbelief, but at the same time, like so grateful that something that impacts me impacted others.
Leah Crocioni, 8TV News.
Avery Barton won People's Choice, Allie Nelson won Miss Congeniality, Kristen Kopp won Second Attendant, and Evan Noble won First Attendant.
Turning to someone else hoping to make a positive impact, this one on suicide. Suicide is the leading cause of death for Utahns ages 10 to 17, says Utah Department of Health. A school counselor is steering awareness towards mental health of Cache Valley teens and hopes to bring that statistic down. Sirens wailing and flashing lights. You might not think of hope when you see an ambulance loudly speeding down the road. Equipping the former emergency vehicle with speakers, a school counselor and DJ plan to have dances that raise awareness of suicide prevention and spread hope. He says when he sees an ambulance, he sees relief and aid.
They're rescuers, and I think that's the main part about the ambulance. To me, I see it as a lifeline, somebody to come out and save someone.
When the rubber meets the road, Jenkins says he just wants to help others. Moving forward, Jenkins hopes to get sponsors to grow his cause.
April is National Pickleball Month. With our recent snowstorm, you might not want to play outside. But I checked out a new location in Cache Valley where there's plenty of inside courts. This looks a lot like tennis, but it's actually pickleball, which was invented in 1965. But as its popularity has grown, Loganites filled these courts for the Picklers' grand opening.
We're super excited to serve the Logan community. This is where we wanted to be for our second location. You know, I was an Aggie for a little bit, so it felt natural to come here next.
Monday's opening had free play, so everyone could take to the court. They offered lessons so those who've never held a paddle could give it a swing.
So if you signed up for the free clinic, just head to court 6 and court 8 and the deep court and you'll get started.
Pickleball is kind of a fairly new sport. It's kind of actually the fastest growing sport in America right now. It's very unique in the way that family members of all different ages, friends in different ages, can all play together but still be at the exact same level, which is really cool and unique.
In the last 5 years, the number of pickleball players in the country has nearly doubled to over 5 million, according to the Sports and Fitness Industry Association. They also say that there's less than 10,000 places to play in the country.
Now, you may be asking yourself, why an indoor court? Well, if you take a look behind me, the answer is pretty obvious. But the people here at the Picklers say that isn't the only advantage to playing inside. Indoor facilities, people love them because parks right now, and with good weather, they tend to get overpopulated. You know, you come play for your 2 hours, no one's going to bother you. But we also have a lot of community events like tournaments, clinics, leagues, etc. So anything pickleball related, it's great to be a part of the Pickler community.
Berrigan says they're offering league and tournament play for people of all ages and skill level. He says he wants more people on the courts and more smiles on faces.
It's a great community to be a part of. We've realized that at the Pickler, it's very inclusive. So you can come here and you can meet new people, and you can have a lot of fun doing it.
The Pickler will start holding tournaments at the end of April. And coming up.
That's so cool, like you don't get a piece of the stadium.
In sports, Jake Ellis will tell you how you can get a piece of Maverick Stadium.
I'm only 17, but I know about investing. Believe in something, buy shares in it, watch it grow. So, what if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. I could be one of the first college graduates from my family, the first philanthropist from my neighborhood. And if I'm the first, then maybe there's a second and a third. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow. My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
They gave me Vicodin after my knee surgery. They kept prescribing it, so I kept taking it. I didn't know it would be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
The smack of pads is probably a sound you've been missing this offseason, and it means it's football time. Welcome to this edition of ATV Sports. I'm Jake Ellis. One takeaway from the football team's scrimmage was the performance of players that just transferred to the team.
A lot of guys make plays that just added to the program in January. We absolutely need them to do so, and this was a good step in the right direction for, I think, that transfer class.
Brian Cobbs made this catch, and watch for this play. Oh, he chukes out two, puts him on ice. He said he already has a solid relationship with the other receivers and quarterbacks. Speaking of football, there are some upgrades being made to Maverick Stadium, and these changes are allowing fans to take home a piece of Aggie history. It's seen wins, losses, practice sessions, a good number of scrimmages, and it's starting to show. USU Athletics is tearing out the old football field turf and it's being replaced. Instead of just throwing it out, Athletics is selling the old turf, which has some Aggie fans saying,
That's so cool, like you don't get a piece of the stadium. Like it's just cool to have it and so that you can see it and be like, this was the football stadium.
You can buy a 2-foot by 3-foot piece for $20 until April 24th. Athletics says the new turf is already on its way. Aggie softball visited the Bulldogs in Fresno this week. On Friday night, Fresno State's Bailey Williams started things off with this RBI single in the bottom of the first. That lead did not last long as Zaya Castrita drove one into right field and would plate Lexi Orozco for the Aggies' first run. That's her 20th RBI this season. Neither team scored again until the top of the sixth when this Bulldog throwing error allowed Castrita to race home from second, and she narrowly beats out that throw. Wow, really close. Fresno State tied it up, but in the top of the seventh, another Bulldog error led to two Aggies scoring. And Utah State would not stop there. Mackenzie McFarland squeaked this single past the second baseman to drive in 2 runs and extend the Aggie lead to 5. And another Fresno State throwing error plated 2 more Aggies. The Bulldogs had 5 total errors in the game. Fresno State got 1 run in the bottom of the 7th, but it wasn't enough, as it'll go in right there. But the Aggies extend their win streak to 9 by a score of 9-3. The next day, the Bulldogs came back with a vengeance. Errors like this one, as just past the first baseman, and this RBI single from McKenna Steele built a 7-run Bulldog lead. The Aggies got on the board a little later after this error by Steele, but Claire Rayleigh rounded third a little too hard and she got herself in a rundown. While in the pickle, she's cutting back to third, changes back going towards home, diving past the pitcher, and she's safe. What a play. Fresno would add on a couple of insurance runs to break the Aggies' win streak 2-10. Bailey Williams started things off with this RBI single in the series rubber match. Maisie McFarland knocked one right up the middle to score Claire Rayleigh and tie the game. Wow, just past the outstretched second baseman. There's the run there. Here's Lexia Roscoe, and boom goes the dynamite. That one way, way back, no doubt about it. That's her 37th home run of her career. And she's just so close to breaking that record. It's 38 right now for a career Aggie. The Bulldogs tied things up with this triple, and that means we have bonus softball. But it wouldn't be enough, as the Bulldogs walked it off 4-3. Men's and women's track and field won 23 total titles at the Aggie Classic this weekend. 3 Aggies broke into the top 10 in school records. Marin Garnett is now 4th all-time in the women's pole vault. She jumped a 3.95 meters. That's nearly 13 feet. Zach Mayer ran a 14.14 second 110-meter hurdles. That's 6th all-time in USU history. Women's tennis beat Air Force for the first time since 2018 to secure their first conference win this season. The next day, they lost to New Mexico. Men's tennis eked out a win over San Diego State 4-3. The Aggies are now 2-1 in conference play. You're all caught up on Aggie sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Jake. Easter is this weekend, but for some Logan kids, Easter came a little early.
And it came in a little more stylish fashion than your average bunny. A helicopter dropped candy from the sky. It had to take 4 trips, dropping a total of 10,000 eggs. 2,000 kids signed up for the event, and an organizer with Keller Williams Real Estate Logan says this is what their company is all about.
One of our biggest things at Keller Williams is giving back, and we just thought it would be a really fun opportunity.
Organizers had to add an extra 5,000 pieces of candy outside the 10,000 eggs because the turnout was just so big.
But after the helicopter went away is when things started getting interesting. Let's kick it back to Jake Ellis for a play-by-play.
Hey, thanks, Kayla. Let's get started here. Kids ran a 100-meter dash to the eggs. For some, it was their chance to break records, and others will want to forget this performance. The helicopter made like John Stockton and passed eggs down to cutting teammates for the score. All that free candy. Now let's break down some technique. Here's Mr. Black Sweater on the right. He has perfect form, swooping in faster than the competition and grabbing the eggs that caught his eye. That could be good enough to top the leaderboard.
I got 0 eggs and I can't find any eggs. They're already open.
You can see some kids checking the leftovers of spiked eggs for candy, and others won't have anything to taste at all. That's your play-by-play. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks for that, Jake, and thank you for joining us for this edition of ATV News.
You can find this edition and previous ones on our Facebook page.
We'll leave you with some more shots of the helicopter.
Have a great week, Cache Valley.
The surplus store. Someone's trash is about to be my treasure.
We have cords and cables here. We have bags full of towels and sheets. Do you want this fold-up mattress? Because we don't.
We got keyboards, paint cans, whatever this is, typewriters, computer monitors.
It's destiny on the line, and we want you at surplus.
Products are not guaranteed to work. All sales are final. This commercial is not endorsed by Utah State.